The dare that led us there, I never believed in ghosts. To me, all those stories about haunted places were just tales meant to scare kids. But everything changed that night, the night we decided to go to the old St. Mary's school, the one abandoned for over 20 years. It all started with a dare. My friends Ali, Hassan, and Sarah and I were hanging out at our usual spot near the tea stall, talking about ghost stories that were making rounds on social media. Hassan claimed he'd seen a shadow moving behind the school's broken windows when he passed by one night. Of course, I laughed it off. Maybe it was your reflection, I joked. But Ali grinned, leaning forward. If you're so brave, Arham, why don't we go there tonight? I should have said no. I should have walked away. But my pride got the better of me. But I said, let's go, midnight. By 11:45, we were standing at the rusty gate of St. Mary's. The place looked worse than I remembered. The building was massive, its windows shattered like broken teeth, and vines crawled up its faded walls. The iron gate creaked as we pushed it open, echoing into the silent night. The air smelled of dust and something rotten, something old. We walked in, our phone flashlights cutting through the darkness. The school courtyard was littered with fallen branches, broken glass, and scraps of paper fluttering in the wind. The silence was so heavy, even our breathing sounded loud. This place gives me the creeps, Sarah whispered, clutching her jacket. Relax, I said, trying to sound braver than I felt. It's just an old building. But deep down, something about the place felt wrong. We entered the main hallway, as the walls were covered in peeling paint, and faded children's drawings still hung on the notice boards, stick figures smiling under bright suns, now covered in dust. I aimed my flashlight at a broken clock above the corridor. The hands were stuck at 12:07. Guess time stopped working here, Ali joked, his voice shaky. As we moved deeper, the air grew colder. Our footsteps echoed in strange ways, like there was someone walking behind us, just a few steps late. I turned around once, but there was nothing, only darkness. Then we heard it, faint sound, like chalk scratching against a blackboard. We froze. The sound came from one of the classrooms to our left. No way, would be here at midnight. Curiosity overpowered my fear. I slowly pushed open the classroom door. The hinges screamed. The room was empty, desks covered in dust, windows shattered, a blackboard still standing at the front. But then, on that board, I saw something, fresh white letters forming right before my eyes. Welcome back, students, Sarah gasped. My heart slammed against my chest. I blinked, thinking it was a trick of the light, but the words were still there. That's when the door slammed shut behind us, and the chalk, lying on the teacher's desk, started moving on its own. Shadows behind the classroom doors. My first instinct was to run, but the door wouldn't budge. Ali grabbed the handle and yanked it hard, his voice trembling. It's stuck. It won't open. The chalk kept scraping across the board, writing the same 3 words over and over again. Welcome back, students. The sound echoed through the room like nails against glass. My flashlight flickered, and when it steadied, the chalk had stopped. But now there were footsteps behind us. Slow, heavy, measured. Sarah whispered, "Who's there?" But no one answered. I turned my flashlight toward the back of the room and saw movement. A dark shadow slipped across the wall, tall and human-shaped, yet somehow distorted. Its arms seemed longer than they should be, its head tilted unnaturally to one side. Then it vanished. Ali's breathing grew loud. It's just the light, he muttered, convincing himself more than us. It's just shadows. Before he could finish, a desk in the corner slammed over by itself. It stowed through the silent school. Sarah screamed, and Hassan stumbled back, crashing into a row of chairs. Finally, the door flew open on its own. None of us questioned how we just ran. Tore down the hallway, our footsteps thundering against the old floorboards. Every sound felt like it was chasing us. Somewhere behind, the faint squeak of shoes echoed like someone walking slowly, deliberately. We burst into what used to be the school auditorium. The ceiling had caved in halfway, and moonlight poured through the cracks, illuminating dust swirling in the air. Hassan panted, clutching his chest. I told you I saw something here once, he said. People said a teacher. She died here. During a fire. I turned to him sharply. A fire. He nodded. Yeah, the headmistress, Mrs. Layla. She tried to save her students. They say she never left. My stomach twisted. I glanced around the auditorium, feeling eyes on us. In the dim light, old trophies glimmered faintly in a glass case trophies that hadn't been touched in decades. Then Sarah pointed at the stage. Do you see that? Faint figure stood there. A woman's outline thin, tall, and still. Her head was bowed, hands clasped in front of her, as if she were about to address a class. None of us could move. Then slowly, she lifted her head. Her face, if you could call it, that was pale, melted in places, her eyes to hollow pits of blackness. When she opened her mouth, it wasn't words that came out. It was the sound of children laughing, dozens of voices, overlapping, echoing through the ruined hall. The laughter turned into screams. Lights flickered. The walls shook. Old portraits fell to the ground. I grabbed Sarah's hand and yelled, "Run!" We sprinted through a side door down another hallway, gasping for breath. Behind us, I heard the faint voice of a woman, soft, almost kind. "Don't leave before class is over." We turned a corner and suddenly, the hallway we'd come through wasn't there anymore. It was a dead end. Ollie cursed. That wasn't here before? The laughter started again, but this time it was closer, right behind us. And just as I turned, the light hit the wall, a head covered in old faded photographs. Students, dozens of them, smiling. But in the last row, my flashlight froze. One of the faces looked exactly like me. The lesson no one should learn for a moment. I couldn't breathe. My mind refused to process what I was seeing. A photo decades old, showing me standing among children in vintage uniforms, my face frozen in a smile that wasn't mine. Ollie shook my shoulder. "Arham, what is it?" I pointed at the photo, my voice cracking. That's me." They all leaned closer. Sarah's face went pale. "That can't be. This picture looks ancient." But there I was. Same face, same eyes. Even the tiny scar above my eyebrow, the one I got as a kid, was there. The laughter behind us grew louder, spun around, but the hallway was empty. The sound now came from inside the walls, echoing through every corner of the school. Hassan grabbed my arm. "We have to get out of here, now." We bolted down another passage, desperate to find an exit. The building seemed to twist and stretch like it was alive. Every turn led us deeper instead of out. Our footsteps splashed through puddles of water dripping from the ceiling. The lights from our phones flickered weakly, battery warnings flashing. "Maybe the stairs?" Sarah pointed ahead. We rushed toward a staircase that led to the upper floor. The steps creaked and groaned beneath us as we climbed. Halfway up, I heard the soft tapping of heels behind us. Slow, rhythmic. I turned, expecting to see the others, but they were already ahead of me. The tapping continued, closer now. And then, out of the darkness below, the same woman from the stage appeared, Mrs. Layla. Her burned face glowed faintly, her black eyes locked on mine. "Class isn't over yet," she whispered. I screamed for the others to run. We sprinted down the upper hallway, slamming doors behind us. Each one burst open moments later as if something invisible was following. Finally, we stumbled into the old principal's office. Broken furniture lay scattered across the floor. A giant portrait of the headmistress hung crookedly on the wall, her calm eyes staring down at us. Ali tried the window. It's nailed shut. Hassan kicked at it, glass shattering. But before he could climb out, the portrait behind us fell to the ground. A cloud of dust rose, revealing a message carved into the wall beneath it, scratched deep by hand. They never left. Sarah started crying softly. "We're trapped." Then my flashlight caught something under the desk, an old class register. I flipped through it, and there it was again. The same photograph, the same faces, including mine. But below it, in old ink, next to my name, was a single word: deceased. The world spun. My pulse roared in my ears. "This can't be real," I whispered. "It's some kind of joke." Before I could finish, the lights in the room flared bright white. For a second, I couldn't see anything. Then I heard voices, dozens of them whispering all around me. Children's voices. "Sit down, Arham. Don't be late for class. Teacher's waiting." I looked up. We were no longer in the principal's office. We were sitting in a classroom, desks lined up, chalkboards clean, sunlight streaming through spotless windows. Everything looked new again, like the school had come back to life. Mrs. Layla stood at the front, smiling, Not burned now, perfectly normal, almost kind. "Good morning, students," she said softly. "Let's begin today's lesson." Ali turned to me, his face blank. So did Hassan and Sarah. Their eyes were empty, glassy, my breath caught. I stood up, knocking over the desk. "We're not supposed to be here," I shouted. "This isn't real." The teacher tilted her head, the smile fading. "Shouldn't have come back, Aram. Once you enter St. Mary's after midnight, you never leave." The walls started cracking. Flames burst from the corners, just like the fire she'd died in. Smoke filled the room. I tried to reach the door, but it melted away into darkness. Her voice echoed through the chaos. Calm, cold, final. Class dismissed. Everything went black. When I woke up, I was lying outside the school gates. The sun was rising. My phone was dead. And there was no sign of my friends. I ran home, breathless, shaking, trying to convince myself it was just a nightmare. But when I opened my phone gallery later that day, I froze. There was a new picture. A photo of an old classroom and me sitting in the front row, smiling. Written at the bottom of the image were the same 3 words I'd seen on the board that night: "Welcome back, students."